This paper is about understanding how policy aimed at depreciating the real exchange rate can generate growth and identifying the conditions that make a country suitable for such a policy. Why is this important? Well, there is a growing empirical literature that seems to show a positive relationship between real undervaluation and growth. And the case of China in the last 20 years seems to be a good example of that. In addition, the media and many policymakers often frequently mention that China manipulates its real exchange rate in order to improve its exports and boost growth. What is interesting and striking is that most prominent economics models, on the other hand, do not predict a positive relationship between real undervaluation and economic growth, except if, of course, we introduce some sort of externality associated with the production of tradable goods. Well, in this paper, I propose a model that explains how policy aimed at depreciating the real exchange rate can actually generate real growth by relocating workers from a low productivity traditional economy into a high productivity industrial or manufacturing sector. The key in the mechanism is the existence of frictions in the labor market. In particular, an entry cost for workers that want to migrate or enter the manufacturing sector, which creates a productivity and wage gap between the industrial sector and the rest of the economy. In this context, a real undervaluation or a policy aimed at depreciating the real exchange rate actually widens the income gap and makes manufacturing more attractive for workers. In that way, it generates real growth by relocating workers and eventually allows the economy to move to a new steady state with higher per capita income. Among the key findings, I find that the effect or the potential effect of a real depreciation on GDP growth and employment in manufacturing depends on the initial condition, and in particular on four initial conditions, which are the relative abundance of labor or scarcity of natural resources. In particular, the effect of a real undervaluation will be stronger in economies with abundance of labor and scarcity of natural resources. The effect also will be stronger in economies, of course, with highly segmented labor markets, will be stronger in economies with initially lower share of employment in manufacturing, and related to all of that, the effect of a real depreciation on GDP growth will be stronger or higher in economies with lower initial per capita income. Empirically, I find that the association between undervaluation and growth, between real undervaluation and the share of manufacturing on the production of tradable goods is actually stronger or higher in the economy with the proper initial conditions pointed out by the model. I also make an attempt to identify those undervaluations that are actually induced by government intervention in opposition to natural undervaluation or undervaluation that simply respond to changes in fundamentals. And what I find is that those induced undervaluations are mainly observed in the East Asian countries. The paper has several important policy implications, not only for Asian countries, but in particular for Latin America and African countries, given the characteristics of the labor markets and their endowments of natural resources.